Today's episode is brought to you by Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the show, go to patreon.com/JoshuaVelas and become a $2 backer today and get early access to the new episodes. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below, but for now, on to today's episode. You're listening to the Augment Experience podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Joshua Velas. I'm a student, musician, and a gamer at heart. Join me as I sit down every week to talk about all the latest news in the technology, business, and video game world. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Joshua Velas. I am your host as usual, and welcome back to the show. Obviously, it's a Friday episode, and I know you guys have been waiting for this, and it's kind of interesting because this is the first real talk I've done in a while. I think the last time I did it was, if I'm correct, it was over the suicide prevention when we talked about when I shared my thoughts and everything about the whole Etika situation. Obviously, I know you guys already know how I like to do the real talks. To me, these are more of I wouldn't say off the books, but it's kind of me just being honest and sharing. Well, I'm not saying I'm always honest with you guys. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to give you my opinion, but obviously this is a more unscripted, and it's just sharing more personal details and sharing more, I'd say more emotion rather than focusing on the details and sharing my opinion on a topic going on. And this real talk is going to be over my personal life. It's going to be this, like, how am I doing? I know people that know me in my personal life. They know that, right now it's a bit rocky. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have no reason to lie. I'm not going to go into that because I'm not that comfortable to go into that yet. I may do another one related to this whole situation, but that's for another time. I think for right now it's just going into my personal life, like saying how's school going, personal life and regarding my family and things like that, and what has actually happened in my personal life these past few months, really. And I think school is probably a good place to start. I think it's a healthy place. I know you guys are probably saying, ugh, my school, ugh. And I know, but school to me so far, especially because, as many of you know, this is my second year of college. So and obviously this is the first year that I'm actually admitted into the College of Engineering, the Whitaker College of Engineering. And I know that it's pretty hard. I'm being honest with you guys. Like, even though, yes, I'm still taking 4 classes a semester, I feel more comfortable doing that. That's me personally. I just feel more comfortable doing that. And that's what I seem to be able to handle, right? That's what I seem to be able to handle right now. And so far, I'm being honest with you guys, it's pretty hard, especially because one of my classes specifically, if I'm being honest, is coding. I'm not really that good at coding. I know that's kind of weird because I'm like, wait, Josh, don't you always post things about your Dokkan shop and running Python and things like that? And I'm like, that is true. But I do want to be honest, that code is what I got from somebody, a friend, and it's not mine. It's something that he wrote, So I have no control over that. So I just learned how to operate the system and then go from there. But I obviously had no hand in actually programming it or anything like that. So it's kind of a little bit of a process to figure out how to code for me, especially because I never really needed to do it. I never really needed to do it. And because I mostly worked with my hands the entire time. And it's, it's hard. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's pretty hard. To me, it is, because naturally, if I'm being honest, since I'm a computer engineering major, I mainly focus more on hardware. So I'd probably consider I'm more accustomed to the electrical engineering side because I'm more familiar with building circuits. I'm more familiar with, Boolean algebra and things like that. And coding is something that's a little bit tricky, especially because the school primarily runs on one coding software. And, it's kind of hard because it's like they run on one coding software and it's not so easy because obviously I have to learn a whole new language. Like, I have to learn a coding language, learn how the program works, what actually works inside of it. And it's hard because my brain is not so used to thinking like that. And I know a lot of people say, well, Josh, engineers are linear thinkers naturally. And I'm like, that is true. But I think it becomes a little bit different when you're experiencing something that you haven't done before. So I guess, like, if I'm being honest, it is hard. I am doing good in the class, though. I have an A right now, so I'm not that worried. Obviously, my other classes would be Modern Digital, which is over Boolean algebra and building circuits. That, to me, is pretty straightforward because I did that in high school. Thank you, Mr. Tolson. I appreciate you so much for that. Obviously, Cal 2, because I took Cal 1 last year. And you guys already know I talk a lot of smack in Cal, so lol. Yeah, I'm shout out to my Cal group. I love you guys to death. I love you guys. Yeah, they know those nights, the fun nights. Not those kind of fun nights, but you get what I mean. It's not those, but it's obviously been challenging a little bit to me this school year. It's especially because like the whole other personal things, which like I said, is I don't want to go into it. Personally, I don't. Like right now, I just feel like it's not healthy for me to go into it. And I'll go into it sometime if people want me to think that it's healthy and, you know, if they feel like I can provide some good insight with it, then I'll consider it. But for right now, it's a no. So I'm sorry, guys. But in terms of job, this is a really interesting one. And especially because anybody that's been keeping track of me for the past, I'd say a few weeks now, or really, like I'd say 2 weeks, really. I think that's probably the better term. The past 2 weeks, things have been pretty crazy. The fact that I actually, for the job fair, I'm specifically focusing on the engineering job fair that happened last week. So what happened at the job fair was, I went with my friend, and obviously I was very nervous going in because I was like, well, my resume is not that good in comparison. I know that a lot of places only hire sophomores, and you know, it's hard because it's like that, you know, you're naturally going in feeling like you're not going to make it. Like it doesn't matter what you do because they already have a set standard and they follow set standard. And I felt discouraged going in. I was nervous. I felt that I would look ridiculous for having a podcast on my resume. People made fun of me for having it on my resume. And when I went to the TI booth, they asked me, hey, what graduation are you, or what class are you graduating from? And I said, I'm going to be the class of 2022. So that means I'm a sophomore. And they're like, okay. We naturally don't talk to sophomores, but we'll let you talk to somebody just to get it out of the way. Like just get it out of the way. And to me, it's interesting on what happened because I talked to Mr. Cantor and he was very interested because I was interested in product marketing engineering. So for TI, product marketing engineering is basically a person that, I think the layman's term to describe it is a person that is focused on a product. He understands the product inside and out. He knows all the technical aspects about it. But at the same time, he's also trying to sell that product to other people. And he's specifically focusing on a specific market. So like Mr. Cantor's is more of, you know, I'd say, I'm trying to see what the way to describe it. More focused towards like autopilot and sensor radars on cars. And that market, he's mainly been flying to Germany and, you know, focusing on that. But the main thing that's about that job is that you're studying the market. And that you're studying that market. And it's a very intensive thing because you're constantly having to understand what is changing in this market. You have to understand what is the competition doing? How is the competition competing against you? So like what are they doing that makes their product either seem better than yours, or what are you doing that makes your product better than theirs? And you know, that's why they ask you to know the product, that you know the ins and outs and that you know how it works and you know how it functions. And Mr. Cantor was really interested because he saw my resume. He knew I was a sophomore. He saw my GPA and everything. I have a good GPA. I have a 3.88. I would have kept a 4.0 if I didn't get a B in ethics, but that's a whole different thing. I know, Mr. Burgess. I know. You can't say anything, but still. He was interested. he was very interested that I had a podcast, and that he asked a lot of questions about it. He asked me, what do you do on this show to begin with? And I said, I naturally analyze markets in the technology, business, and video game world. I analyze the markets. I analyze what's going on. I talk about topics going in there. I make sure that I research the topics before I go into it. And he was very interested, and he was able to understand that I understood a lot of the lingo that he was throwing around, like, best bang for your buck, and understanding a specific market and knowing how to approach that market. And, he understood that, and he was very interested that I understood it. And he's like, okay, I need you to come. Can you please come back in an hour and talk to me again? We're not guaranteeing that we're going to get you an interview, but we just want to, see if you're free, come back in an hour, talk to me again, and we'll see what happens. So I waited in the Samsung booth, and the Samsung booth, Samsung didn't care about anybody. They were just stiff. Like, I'm being serious. They were stiff. And it was hard because you're basically going into like a conversation with a person that doesn't care, that no matter what, he does not care. And so I went to a TI booth, and I went back, and Mr. Cantor was like, hi, so we're going to get you in for an interview. And it's crazy because Mr. Cantor is the one, like, he was telling me, oh, let me go talk to my supervisor. Let me see what they say, like the person doing the interviews. And he actually was the person that does the interview. So that's crazy that he pulled strings to get me into an interview because he was really interested. And a lot of people that knew me personally, they knew I was happy. I was elated because I got a opportunity that I wasn't used to because I stuck out. And to me, that was pretty crazy because I couldn't believe that this had happened. I couldn't believe that a company, a big tech company, because TI is a very big company. People know who TI is when you just say the name. No, they don't just make calculators. Keep that in mind. But they knew, well, I wouldn't say they knew, but he was interested. And to me, it was shocking because I had a resume that didn't look like everybody else's. I didn't have the same experience. I was just a cashier at McDonald's. I was a warehouse worker at Amazon. I'm a podcast host. And a lot of people in my position already have internships for like Verizon. They've had opportunities in other companies, their parents' companies, friends, like things like that. And my resume wasn't as impressive. And, that's it kind of makes me feel like I was underselling myself, that I didn't understand my value. And I'll be honest with you guys, to a degree, I think I did. And that's kind of scary. And I hope you guys, if you ever get to that point that you feel like you're underselling yourself, I'd say be very careful. And this is a lesson I had to learn recently. And it was hard. I had to learn that I have more value than what I believe I do. And to me, it was crazy and I couldn't believe it. So obviously that was Wednesday, and then the interview was Thursday. So let's jump to Thursday. Thursday, we went into the interview. I was scared out of my mind because I was like, I didn't research the company. Because I also knew TI a little bit. I understand what the role entails. But I was so nervous because I couldn't find the building. And I was so nervous because I was like, what do I do? Can't find this building. I'm assuming it's at the stadium. Go to the stadium. And it was there. And I was like, okay, great. 5 minutes before the interview, I waited outside. I prayed. And I cannot make this up on how well the interview went. I felt like I was close to crying tears of joy because of how well it went. I honestly couldn't imagine how good it went. I can't. It's so hard to put into words on how well it went that I was dumbfounded. I almost cried tears of joy because of how elated I was, how happy I was that not only did I get the opportunity to even talk to Mr. Cantor, but the fact that he really is interested in me as a candidate. And it really means a lot that happened. And I know I'm not crying right now, but I was humbled. I called my mom. I was very humbled. I was like, Mom, it went great. I told a lot of people it went great. I was just so immersed on how well it went that it's crazy. And the fact that he really loved the idea of my podcast, he loved that I was already studying the market and I was just doing it for fun, that I wasn't doing it for like a job or doing it for anything else, that I was just doing it for fun, and he was interested. And Mr. Cantor was like, he even told me, like, when he asked me the question that, okay, so we have a product, we're selling it for $1, we make another product and it costs less to make it. How would you go about doing this and presenting it to the buyers and the market? And so I went through, answered the question. I did it the best way I could. And he was dumbfounded because he's like, you literally just gave me the best answer I've heard all day. You left me dumbfounded. Everyone else, I've left them dumbfounded because they kept stammering because they thought about it wrong. And they always got themselves stuck, and they were like, and he was honest with me. He's like, you left me dumbfounded because you answered the question perfectly. You went through and you thought about it deeply. And I was like, thank you. I appreciate it. He asked a lot of questions about my podcast. He was really interested in my experiences and what I've been through. And he gave me his undivided attention. And to me, that was crazy. He gave me his business card. I emailed him afterwards saying, Mr. Cantor, I thank you for the opportunity that, you even let me get through the door. I thank you that you pulled so many strings to get me just to get an interview. I'm humbled. I'm grateful. Like, I told him that I was close to crying because of not only just how well it went, but just even getting the opportunity to talk to somebody like that. And he responded. And then starting this week on Monday, I actually got the email that I'm proceeding to the virtual interview. And I was like, I honestly was close to getting on my hands and knees and just praying and thanking God for everything, because I was like, this, I can't believe that this is happening. And I know I'm trying not to cry, but it was so surreal, and that it might go all the way. And I prayed about it. I've thought about it. I've talked to my mom about it, that if this is the Lord's will, then it will be done. That he always opens doors and he opens them widely. He always provides. He always gives us our needs, and he sometimes gives us our wants, but he always gives us our needs. That he opens opportunities for us. Always. He's always there for us. He's always a provider. And that, reminding my mom, and, she always reminds me that he's constantly blessed our family incredibly. That we never lack anything, even though, yes, we don't have a lot, but we never lack in what we need. And to me, it's crazy that all this has happened. And I'm just in my head. I'm thanking God for everything. I'm praying, and I'm thanking him for being so gracious, for being so merciful, and, blessing me that way. And I just couldn't imagine that. Obviously, yes, I'm keeping myself level-headed because there's still a virtual interview. And, after the virtual interviews, when they said the job offers, but he also told me, just be mindful. They always like to give juniors will have priority no matter what, because, they mainly hire juniors for internships, and that they want to fill up the junior spots. But I can tell that Mr. Cantor is really interested, that they're interested in me and what I bring to the table. And I hope you guys keep me in your prayers, that everything will continue to go well, that if this is God's will for my life, then it will happen, and I'll have an internship with TI, which I will be elated, because obviously a lot of people know that if you get an internship with TI, you have a high probability of getting a job after you graduate, and a high paying job, because they already familiar with your work. And TI is a very reputable company, very big company, and I would love the opportunity and privilege to work for them. And that's not me just saying that so they give me the job, but that's me being honest, because I'm being given an opportunity that I just feel like I didn't deserve. But at the same time, I thank God that he's opened this opportunity for me. And I know Mr. Cantor is being level-headed with me, and I know he's being honest. He's like, look, don't beat yourself up if you don't get this opportunity. It would not be because you were not equipped. It would mainly, if it came down to anything, it would literally come down to you just being a sophomore. And if I get it, then, it would be incredible if I get the internship as a sophomore. And that would be incredible. That would be history making. And not just for me, but, based on what I've heard in the school, it'd be history making. And that's not me trying to toot my horn. That's That's not me trying to boost myself and say, oh, I'm almighty, yeah, alpha. That's not me doing that. But I'm sharing with you how I feel and how genuine and surreal it feels to have all this happen. Obviously, in terms of the show's going great. I thank you guys so much for your continued support. I know I posted something on Wednesday night showing the stats that we're already over 600 downloads. Thank you guys so much for that. I really appreciate it. I love you guys to death. I know the show is continuing to growing. We're continuing to get bigger and bigger. Obviously, the quality keeps continuing to get better. I'm getting a more feel for the flow of doing things, and it's been an incredible ride, incredible journey. I hope that we continue to this trend that, maybe by the end of the year we might hit 1,000 total downloads, and that would be awesome. Like, obviously, yeah, some people say, well, you can get more Patreon backers. I'm like, I'm not worried about the Patreon backers. My Patreon backer that's supporting me right now, I love him to death. Thank you, Gilberto. I love you, man. Thank you so much for supporting the show. It really means a lot to me. Obviously, yeah, I would like to one day have, I'd say 10 Patreon backers. 10. That's all I want right now. I feel like if I can hit 10 by the end of the year, that'd be great. And I just thank you guys so much that you guys continue to support this show, that you guys keep coming back, that you guys like my viewpoints on some things. And obviously, the guests are great too. Like, they're great people. They really are. They're great people. Me and Juan are pretty good friends now. Obviously, Get Flanked, having him on was crazy. I know we're planning on having more guests eventually, and that will go, you get what I mean. It will happen. But I'll be patient. I'll be humble about it. I'll be gracious whenever it happens. And I know that it's going to be an incredible time. To me, this is incredible. I know the show will keep getting better. I know I'll keep improving the quality of said show. I know that, you guys already know when I post on my Snap or something, there's a piece of gear I'm interested. Right now I'm interested in a new pair of Sennheisers. It's the ones that upgrade from the 280 Pros, the 300 Pros. I'm really interested in those right now because they're the same price, but it's also because they're a newer pair and there's some things that are better with them that I really want. I will also say that it's really crazy too, because when you think about it, podcasting, if we talk about podcasting just for a bit, it's kind of an interesting thing. It's a very interesting thing because anybody can do it. You just have to have the will and you have to know what you want to do and, what's your mindset for doing it. And, for me, it's crazy. And it's kind of crazy because I naturally already had experience with understanding audio and things like that because of what I do at my church as doing the media stuff for the church, and then also being in band and, learning how to balance and tune. And I took all those skills and applied it to doing this. And to me, this has been a blessing because it's been able to allow me to do what I'm good at and do it for fun and not have to. I wouldn't say that me helping out the church isn't fun. To me, it's fun. I always like helping out. It's because I also love the people. I love all the people there. They're family to me. They've been there for me. They've seen me growing up and my entire life so far. They've seen where I've come and where I am right now. They continue to love me. They continue to support me. They're always praying for me. They're always supporting me when I need someone to talk to. They're always there, and I thank them so much for that. And then obviously my band family is always there. I know that all the friends that I made in band, they're always there supporting me. I may not talk to some of them because I know we're all busy and we all have busy lives, but I know that I thank them so much for being my friends and being family to me. And, to me, this is incredible. I love doing this. To me, this is something I love doing. And I wouldn't want to trade this for anything. And I'm being honest with you guys. I wouldn't. I to be honest, with the whole situation going on, I was considering of stop doing the show for a while, but then I came to my senses. I was like, no, this is a blessing. God has blessed you with this opportunity and has blessed you with this, not influence over people, but this way of sharing information that people enjoy, that they like hearing you talk about topics and they like hearing you be genuine about things. And it's a blessing to me. It's God showing me that this is clearly a blessing for me and that it will continue to grow and continue to multiply and that everything will go great. And who knows, I might actually, maybe after 2 years of doing this show, I might make a second show. Who knows? Maybe I might make a real talk show, maybe, and just give advice on life and, give not only advice that's healthy for young adults, but I'd say for anybody at any stage in life. And, you know, I may, depending on what I want to do, like, but that's obviously way down the line. I'm not thinking about that right now. Like, to me, I'm focused on what I'm doing right now because that's what's important. I'd rather live every day, one day at a time, and be as faithful as I can be every day because, you know, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. So I think overall, I will admit life has been hard on another aspect in terms of other personal things. I think it's always a process that, yes, things will be hard. Life will be hard. Like, nobody said life would be easy. Anybody that tells you that life is easy is lying to you. That's bad advice. I would not listen to those people because that's really bad advice. That's very dangerous advice. And to me, I feel very blessed. I feel very grateful that, you know, I have all these people in my life that, you know, it's not to make me feel that I'm not alone, but that they're there because they care about me. They want me to continue to keep going forward. They want me to learn from my mistakes. They want me to, you know, learn these life lessons. Like, yes, I will have to learn them by myself because they're my decisions. I have to learn to live with the consequences of my decisions, whether they be good or bad. But they're going to be there to help encourage me and help remind me of the truth and help, you know, not shape my mind, but be there as a precaution that if I go out of line, they will put me in check. And to me, it's a blessing because I have such a large support base that it's not even funny. That, well, I admit there's people that aren't going to like me. I'll be honest with you guys. There's people that don't like me. And some people are like, wait, how do they not like you, Josh? Like how? And that's not me trying to toot my horn or anything. That really isn't. But there's people that don't like me. And I'm fine. I have nothing against those people. They're allowed to think what they want. But I'll be honest that, you know, they can think all the negative ways they want about me, and they can try to pick out my flaws and everything like that. But it doesn't matter because I've already exposed my flaws. I've been honest about my flaws. I've asked for forgiveness about my flaws and the people I've hurt because of those flaws. And they can be mad at me as much as they want, but it doesn't bother me. I'm not mad at them. And I pray that, you know, that they find forgiveness in their heart, that they learn to forgive. And like I always tell people, you forgive, but you don't forget. That forgiveness isn't that you forget what the person has done, but that, you know, that they make because you damaged the bond with that person when you've hurt them. And they may be able to forgive you, but you have to work, I'd say work to show that you are sorry and that you want to, if you really want to rebuild that friendship or relationship with somebody, that you have to be willing to try. And, you know, it comes down to the same thing is like, you don't have to forgive somebody. You can stay mad at them the rest of your life and that's fine. But, you know, that it's how you handle it. Is that going to eat you up every night because you didn't forgive that person? Or are you just going to move on and not care? And that's up to you guys. I can't tell you what to do there. That's not my role. I don't know your situations. I don't know. I know in my case, like when somebody offends me or hurts me or, you know, I'm willing to forgive. I never tell somebody I'll try to forgive you. I never do. I will tell people I am willing to forgive you because God has forgiven me for what I've done. And the people that I've hurt have forgiven me for what I've done when I was younger. And I do the same way as I'm willing to forgive. But the thing is, are you willing to be reconciled? Do you want to fix things? Do you want to fix the relationship you have with me and be sincere? And do you want to make things right? Because I'll walk with you. Like, I may not walk with you in the same way that I did before, but I will be there and I will walk with you if you are serious. If you are serious and you want to run, I'll run with you. And you know, it's the same thing. That's kind of how my mentors are with me. They ask me the same question. Do you want to run? Because if you're willing to run, we'll run with you. We want to walk life with you, and you want to run, we'll run life with you. And that's kind of the same thing. That's kind of how I always view everybody is like, are you willing to run? When you want to be reconciled with somebody, are you willing to be run? And that's really a lesson that I've had to learn these past few days is, you know, forgiveness. And it's been hard. And it's hard on me because it goes into like what's going on. And I'll promise you guys, I will go into it in a future episode. I just don't want to go into it right now, but I will say that the lessons I'm learning in this will help shape me for the future. That I do not make the same mistakes twice. That I'm not mad at anybody. I'm not mad at myself. I'm not sad about it, but I'm willing to forgive. And I'm willing to I have already asked for forgiveness, They want to forgive me, great. If they don't, that's fine. But I'll tell them I'm willing to forgive them for what they've done, and go from there. And I always say, I tell it to everybody, I would say, don't hold grudges, guys. I wouldn't. It's not good. It eats you up at night. It's so bad and unhealthy that it's not good. And whether you're a believer or a non-believer, it does not matter. Do not hold grudges. Do not. It will eat you up and it will ruin your life, guys. It will ruin your relationships that you have with anybody, whether it be a friend, a boyfriend or girlfriend, a husband or a wife, a parent, whatever. Do not hold grudges. It is not good for you. I'm being honest. Do not. Don't do it. It's not good for you. And I've had to learn this lesson. I had to learn it when I was younger, and I'm learning it now again because, except in different contexts. And to me, it's very encouraging that my mentors are here for me, that my friends are here for me, that my family's here for me, and that I have this large support system that's not beating me up, that's not giving me bad advice, but they're giving me honest advice, healthy advice. They're helping, they're encouraging me, and they're making sure that I focus on myself, because there's a lot to focus on. There's a lot of responsibilities that fall on my shoulders, and I want to make sure that I'm focused. And it's been a blessing, the fact that I'm doing all of this with you guys, that I'm doing this show, the fact that I have this whole thing with TI going on, the fact that, yes, while school's getting hard, I continue to be blessed every year. The school keeps being nice to me. They keep being generous to me. They keep giving me more money. So yes, please keep giving the money, please. I need the money. I really appreciate getting the money. But it's really nice. And it really means a lot to me that you guys continue to be there and walk with me and encourage me. And I couldn't ask for anything better. I really can't. And I thank you guys so much for everything. But I think that's pretty much it. I think in terms of a life update, that's pretty much all I got. Like I said, is I don't want to talk about the other thing because I'm not in a position to talk about it right now. I'll probably talk about it maybe in November, December, maybe, depending. Or whenever I feel like it's the right time to do it. I'll be honest with you guys, when I feel like it's right. But I thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for continued support of the show. It really means a lot to me. If you guys really like these kind of episodes, please let me know. Let me know, what do you want me to go over on these Real Talks? Because the Real Talks are more of a rare occurrence when they happen. Well, I wouldn't say rare occurrence, but they'll pop up from time to time if I feel like it's necessary. If I feel like that what I want to talk about is going to encourage somebody, it's going to lift somebody up, and it's going to make somebody feel better. And I really hope that you guys give me your feedback. And I really, like I said, I always love your guys' feedback. You guys always seem to give me good feedback when the ones that you do give me feedback. I know not everyone does, but I think for me, the easiest way I can tell you guys are giving me good feedback is when, you guys are responding to me. And I wouldn't say responding to me. You're responding to me in the form of constantly listening, and you keep downloading and everything. So I thank you guys so much. I hope that you guys keep coming back and keep listening to shows. I hope you guys enjoy. I love you guys to death. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. I hope somebody walked away feeling encouraged from this episode, knowing that I'm not a perfect human being. My life is not all in order, that I make mistakes. I have flaws. I have things that I struggle with, but that I hope that it encourages somebody out there that you're not alone. Everybody struggles. Everybody has something up with them. Nobody lives a perfect life. There's only one person that has, and that's based on my beliefs that, there's only one person that has, but that, to me, nobody is perfect. Do not think that just because don't compare your life to somebody else's. Do not do that, because that's unhealthy. That's not loving. And it can mess you up really badly. I'm going to tell you guys that right now. Do not compare your life to anybody else's. Do not make comparisons. Do not. It is not good for you. Don't do it. And I hope that somebody walks away encouraged, that they walk away encouraged because of my honesty and my openness to talk about what's going on in my life. I hope that somebody that's hearing this feels encouraged and is willing to do the same, is willing to walk life with other people and willing to share their story with people, and find people that are willing to be intentional with them and walk life with them, whether it be mentors, whether it be a partner, whatever, whether it be good friends. I hope that somebody walks away encouraged, and I hope you guys enjoy. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. I'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys. Hey there. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day and listening to today's episode. If you're interested in supporting the show, whether it be financially, clicking the follow button, or just sharing the episode, it all works for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I love you guys to death.